Tales of Vindicators. This is a show for the 19th of March 2017. This is part 2. Yes, I know that I still haven't uploaded all the clips from the previous recording session, which I have 2 clips left to upload. I will then finish uploading them on Monday if I upload a part today as well. Sunday today, right? Yeah. I actually went to bed a bit later today at 1:30, which is 1 hour 30 minutes after midnight. But I went up at around just a bit before 9, so yeah. I didn't sleep as well. Like, I keep waking up a lot of times when I sleep. Like, I wake up and like I need to take a piss because I drink too much water and stuff that, you know, like, but I need to do it. And yesterday, you can see it here on the tongue. It looks like it's blood almost. And like, I burnt my tongue yesterday because I like got some extra coffee. Like, at one point I drank coffee and I got some coffee later, and he didn't tell me it was hot as shit, that it was new coffee. I thought it was coffee from downstairs that had, you know, cooled down a bit, you know, because I don't mind cold coffee sometimes, you know. And it was like burning hot. And then he was asking me, oh, is that guy you watching on YouTube, blah blah blah. So I couldn't like concentrate, you know. I was like, what? Because I was having pretty high volume on. And then I just took a sip, you know, and I didn't realize, you know, I took a big like that, you know, like a lot of it at once. So I started burning in here. I started burning on my tongue, and it was like boiling hot, the coffee. So I managed to burn off some of my skin on my tongue, you know, and stuff that, you know, and it still hurts after that, you know. I still have like, you know, it still hurts, you know, but, you know, it's really fucking bad burning your tongue like that, you know. It's not nice when it happens, you know. It still hurts, you know, and stuff that. Like, I had to pour like cold water on it, you know, and stuff that. So yeah, that's a bit bad, you know. And my thrice wall braids are 798. How I used to go from one thing from another. But anyway, let's go over the spec here. Let's go over the way I built it. Some of the things I actually went for at first. Some of the things I didn't need to change, but some of it I did. I believe I changed Abyssal Strike to Abyssal Strike. Like, I didn't have Abyssal Strike at first. I went with the one which causes the fell immolation. Or like when you're... The fell immolation, I think, is when you're like burning yourself. So that thing gives you movement speed, because that's pretty decent when moving around and stuff that. But I went for Abyssal Strike as the first talent thing. Which is a passive infernal strike, range increased by 10 yards, and its cooldown is reduced by 8 seconds. Abyssal Strike is the whole like slam dunk, like when you slam down with your fist and you jump in your demon form and like you bring down the pain, yeah. You do your fucking choke slam, oh. And it's pretty cool, like how you're like how your demon form is like a beefy fucking guy, you know, which is all about like swiping with your hands, like punch, you fucking punch stuff, you know, and stuff that. I really like Vengeance Demon Hunter. Actually, I prefer it over Havoc. Like, there's not that many Demon Hunters that actually dare to go tanking. It seems like I hardly ever see like, and it seems like everyone is just expecting every Demon Hunter to be like, and I believe some Demon Hunters cannot, or some people cannot even tell the difference. Like, everyone thinks all Demon Hunters of Havoc pretty much, because there is an ability that you get, which sadly is at 108. And I believe Abyssal Strike is at... Like, you get Abyssal Strike while leveling up, right? That's like... Because they start at 98. And I believe they get a talent at 98. That's the first talents they actually unlock, or whatever, when you're leveling up and stuff there. But yeah. So I got Abyssal Strike as the first thing. The second thing I got is Burning Alive, which I believe I did go for. I didn't need to change that. Like, I looked up like a leveling spec, kinda, you know, and stuff like that. But I went for like some of the things I had different things chosen at first, but I did change everything at 105, or the things I changed, you know. Because some of them I had before. But Burning Alive is a passive. Every 2 seconds your Firebrand deals 8,995 damage and spreads to all nearby enemies. The thing is, Firebrand, that ability, is insanely good. Like, it's a really good DPS talent, because as a tank, as a Vengeance, you actually deal pretty decent damage. And the thing is, your Firebrand causes opponents to deal less damage to you. It's both a survivability talent and DPS talent, because your firebrand deals damage and it spreads to other enemies, meaning that you can literally make a crowd of enemies deal less damage to you with it. And that means that you use your burning alive at the start, basically, pretty much, when you're like AoE down a pack of enemies, and you take less damage. And then once it runs out, you use, you have to use your firebrand to make it work, It has nothing to do with that burning thing, Although the burning thing also causes AoE things. Then the next ability after that is the Fell Blade, which is the 14-yard range, 50-second cooldown, which is basically your shards. Like ability, you charge to your target and you deal 113,179 fire damage, which is at 110 basically. Demon's Bite, which is your standard ability. Like shear is the one you use when you cleave the souls, the one that spends fury, but the Demon's Bite is the one that generates fury. And Demon's Bite is, of course, deals pretty decent damage, but the Demon's Bite has a chance to reset the cooldown of Fell Blade. And Fell Blade, you almost always want to use that one that is up, because the Fell Blade helps with the fury generation. It generates 30 fury, and the cooldown is already 15 seconds, and like if you use Demon's Bite enough, then you get Fell Blade up a lot, when it's very, very mobile. You can charge a target, kill it quickly, charge to another one, like it's very, very mobile. I like the way you tank as a Vengeance, sure, I like my Prot Paladin and stuff that, but Vengeance is something very, very satisfying with dealing a shit ton of AoE damage. And sure, you can deal a shit ton of AoE damage with Prot Paladin, but a Prot Paladin kinda needs to spec for AoE. As a Demon Hunter, you don't need to spec as AoE as much, because you have some decent AoE skills, like the Abyssal Strike, which is of course the Infernal Strike thing that causes pretty decent AoE damage. Demolition that you can use on yourself causes fire damage to targets around you. Your regular Demon's Bite, I believe, causes AoE damage somehow. I don't know exactly how it works, but yeah. And then you have your Throw Glaive thing, which causes AoE damage and stuff like that, but yeah. Anyway, after that, the next passive here is Soul Rending, which isn't recommended for the next patch, apparently, because Metamorphosis is getting a buff. So the only time you really need this is if you do Mythic Pluses, like later on, basically, because it gain 50% less while Metamorphosis is active, and Metamorphosis is getting buffed in the new patch, so Soul Rending is going to be less useful. I kind of wish they would then like work around and change what Soul Rending would do. What I would have it is, I would have it give you Leech, but also maybe give you Haste as well, or have it give you like Versatility or something like that, or something, make it have a secondary effect so it's still worth using, like, because of them improving, like Metamorphosis makes it so that Soul Rending almost becomes worthless, and it's only useful during certain Mythic Pluses when a certain what do you call them? The prefix, when a certain prefix is up, basically, pretty much. And I forgot which one it was. There's during a certain prefix that if we use Soul Rending, it's really, really powerful during a certain prefix. Which it might be that prefix that causes enemies to deal a shit ton of damage to the tanks, especially, whatever it is. There is something that makes you basically take like a shit ton of damage, like all the time. Like you want to use your defensives as much as possible, like you want to use them basically all the time, like all enemies attacks will do like a shit ton of damage, and then like you need to have high enough DPS to like kill enemies really quickly because they do so much damage. So yeah, the quickening sigils, which is basically the best sigil. I used to go with the sigil that you used on your ground on yourself, basically, pretty much, because it's just easier, because then you just need to press the button and then you don't need to aim or anything. But the good thing about the quickening sigils is they activate 1 second faster and the cooldown reduced by 20%. And that's the thing, like, even though the other thing is just simple and you just activate them on yourself, the thing that makes this so powerful is the fact that you can use your sigils more often, and using your sigils more often is more important than casting them on top of you, because you still have the normal cooldown on the sigil, and the normal cooldown on the sigil is pretty long. And using your sigils very quickly, for example, as I've said, with the, where is it? Yeah, there is a certain skill you can use, a certain sigil that you want to use, which is a pretty good DPS increase. And some of the sigils are really, like, there is a sigil which is even like CC, which is the one that causes enemies covering fear. But keep in mind that your damage breaks it, so that if you want to freeze a group of enemies with that, you have to avoid using AoE. So that, which can be a bit bad, but you can use it, for example, on an enemy pack. Like, let's say you pull a few enemies, one of your DPS pulls something by mistake, or there is a patrol or whatever. I don't want to deal with a patrol now, so you just cast that sigil on the opponents, and then I believe that sigil, also the one that causes fear, lasts for quite a decent amount of time. So it's pretty good, you know. The next thing, which is one of my absolute favorite talents in the entire game, mind you, which is the 108 talent, which gives Vengeance Demon Hunters their version of I-Beam. But it's hella cool. It's cooler than I-Beam, in my opinion. And it's Fell Devastation. It costs 30 pain. It's a channel skill. 20-yard range, which is actually pretty decent, to be honest. 1 minute cooldown, which is not as long as you think. Like 1 minute, that like goes really quickly. Like, you know, it goes really quickly, you know. And unleash the fell within you, damaging enemies directly in front of you for 178,195 damage over 1.9 seconds. So yeah, so it's a pathetic damage. Causing damage also hits you for up to 494,000 and 950 health. And I believe this scales also with something. I don't think it's mastery, right? What does mastery do again? Yeah, Demon Spark reduces physical damage taken by additional 11.70%. Also increases your attack by about 15%, so yeah. But yeah, Fell Devastation is really good. Like, I like the way it looks, because the thing is, the normal I-Beam that you get as a Havoc, it causes you to fly up your wings or out, you're in your demon form and you just blast with your thing. Fell Devastation, you stand there in your beefy demon form and you just like breathe on your opponents, like a fire breath, like a fell breath, basically. That's pretty much what it is. You can aim it like blah, like a blah, like blah blah blah. That's what it is. Blah blah blah. That's how scared the dragon started. Blah blah blah. Fucking boss in World of Warcraft, like I voice acting a boss in World of Warcraft, like in this super mega patch, which is all dragon bosses. Blah blah blah. One of the dragons. And then blah 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 blah. If you look into the dragon's eye, if you don't look away when it does that, blah 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 blah, it's an insta wipe. Blah. It wipes everyone within 30 yards in front of it, basically, like almost like a cone like this, like a cone like this in front of it. Poof. If you don't look away, blah 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 blah. And it has a cast time of 0.5 seconds. So you have to react. And then there are going to be add-ons like they tell you before it's even start being cast. Like, look away now. No, I'm not going to do that. And then it goes and the whole group wipes. Feels bad, man. And then the final thing I chose here was Last Resort, just because they are buffing up Last Resorts. It's not that great now because it only occurs every 8 minutes, but they are changing that down to 4 minutes. Because the 8 minute didn't make much sense, because there are similar classes that have something that saves them from death, with a lot shorter cooldowns. And then you might say about the one for the Demon Hunter is strong sustaining fatal damage instead transforms into metamorphosis form and returns it to 30% health. Which is really good, which sometimes lets you ignore mechanics, like you can completely like ignore a mechanic and then like come back alive, you know. So you can absorb a particularly deadly mechanic, you know, and stuff that, you know. And it's really powerful. And I think I'm gonna be back with one last video after this. So yeah, I'll see you all.